Good morning, go-getters. How are you today? It is Wednesday, and I am really excited to be with you here today. I'm going to talk today a little bit about a difficult thing, which is really all about crisis communication. And my background actually is in public relations. I have spent many years working with crisis communications and been through a number of crises as the lead communicator for a brand, or or a supporting or lead communicator for brand during crisis. And so I thought that I would bring that out today because a lot of people, I've been seeing this question coming up a lot, are having situations where they are having to, um, honestly, they're having to deal with stuff they don't normally have to deal with. So this has brought out that kind of situation for a lot of us. So I thought today that I would talk to you about that. Hi, Secret Panther. I don't know who that is, but hi, how are you doing? Anyway, so I am really excited to kind of run through the things that I've learned, and maybe you can take some of it for your company and what you're doing, and also for your business if you have one. And even if you don't, like if you're a manager or anything like that in an organization, this is really helpful. So I've got 4 things for you. I kind of just wrote down a little quick list for myself. And the first one is really about clarity. Actually, it's funny because I have a online course called Smart Social Secrets that I'm about to launch probably next week. I'm moving it up because I feel like a lot of people need what is in it right now, along with like a quick start. So be looking for that. But one of the things we talk about is the 4 parts of really a framework around strategy. And my strategy framework is clarity, connect, create, and calibrate. So the 4 C's. And so the first C is really about clarity. And whenever there's like something like this, a big crisis, clear communication cannot be underestimated. It is so, so important to have some clear communication. So I will tell you that like yesterday, our mayor here in Houston had a stay home order. So it's not locked down, but stay home. And what he's told us is that we have to stay home, which is confusing because some of the businesses that are involved in this don't know exactly what he's talking about. So this morning in the paper, that was just like a ton of confusion by businesses. Are we essential? Are we not essential? Who's essential? Who's not essential? Where can you go? Where can you not go? Things like go to the parks and walk around, but the benches are closed in the playgrounds. So what does that mean? How do you keep people off the benches? I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot of ambiguity in those statements. So people are allowed to make their own judgments, and not all people will make the judgments the city probably wants, because the clear point is that we have to have a certain amount. You have to have the social distancing in order to stop the spread of the virus. So how do you like get that clear? And then as a business owner, how are you clear with your staff? Like, what's going to happen? How long is this going to last? You have no control over that as a business owner. So that makes it very difficult to have those conversations with your employees. So those kinds of conversations are really important, and you need to make a decision. You have to stand up like a leader, no matter if the ruling by the government is ambiguous. You as a leader for your business need to come up with a plan and communicate it to your employees, to your clients, to your customers, to everybody that's involved. So, the sooner that you do that, the better you can transfer or pivot. We've been talking about pivoting in the last couple of episodes. And so you can transfer or pivot or whatever, but only if you're really clear about what it is you're going to do. So number 1 is clarity. Even if you have to write it down. So I actually found myself with doing this like yesterday. I was talking to my team, and we're planning to move up our launch, as I said, of Smart Social Secrets. And as a result, there's a couple of things, like some decisions that need to be made. And I wasn't quite ready to make them yesterday. And so what I did instead is I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do this and you do that. And then I'm going to write this manifesto. Basically, I'm going to just sit down and write an entire couple of pages of just my vision for this. And then they can take that and pull it out and put it into like words on a website, on, different things. So even if you aren't quite yet sure yourself, you have to be really clear about what you want. And And it's okay, because I mean, all of us are a little bit overwhelmed by this, I think. So it's hard. The other thing that I want to be honest about is like if you have an employee that has contracted the virus, as the days go on, more and more of us are going to either know someone or somebody in our company is going to have the virus. It's going to happen. And I was actually talking to someone about exactly this problem the other day, that somebody in their company, in their organization, got the virus. Well, their team was worried because they are a team that goes all around the building. So they were worried, like, what part of the building did that person sit in? And because it's a healthcare issue, so that makes this a lot more tricky too, by the way, guys, that this is a healthcare issue, this COVID. And so people are reluctant because of rules and HIPAA violations and stuff to talk about somebody else's health situation. And so what ends up happening though is that it goes almost to the extreme. So, they wanted to just know what part of the building this person was sitting in. That wasn't communicated. So I would say that, if you have teams that might be impacted, they need to know, not who, but like where. So just being careful not to over protect the information, because that protection, that overprotecting of the information, really will cause stress with your workers. So if you are still in a working situation where you have to go in because you're essential, somebody may come down with this virus, and when they do, clarity of communication becomes so important, so important. And the other thing I'm going to say is that if you are in a situation where you have to lay off workers, or furlough them, I know that that can be really, really stressful. As a business owner, I've had to do it. It wasn't fun. It was very difficult. But one of the things that I was real clear about is getting on the phone with each employee specifically. You can either do it video or over the phone, but because obviously you can't do it in person. In person is better, obviously, but we can't. But back then I couldn't either. We've always been a fully distributed company, and these people didn't even live in the same city as I. So I got on a call with them and walked them through it, what we were doing, why we were doing it. I gave them a time frame, and I just did it with compassion. So the second part is about connecting, and that kind of brings me to that part, which is you want to be clear about your message, but you also want to make sure that you're connecting with the people who are receiving that message. So that connection is so important because it will make them feel supported and at least seen and heard, even if it's like putting their world into a tailspin. So, yeah, you're putting their world into a tailspin. It is, I mean, it's easy to feel guilty about that, guys. We have no control over what's going on right now as far as the actual virus, but we do have control over our reaction to the virus and how we react as leaders. And that's the message I wanted to bring today. It's really about that reaction. So connecting with those people, really, hearing them and empathizing with them if at all possible. I know some work places are saying, hey, we are going to furlough you or lay you off, and they're encouraging them to apply for unemployment insurance. And so, that's interesting in and of itself, because when you apply for unemployment insurance, your employer will actually pay part of that cost. So that's one thing that you might want to think about as an employer if you are one, especially right now as all of these retail businesses are just being laid off. Some of them are pivoting, putting all their stuff online, so on. And that's been really interesting as well. Hi, King Fleming. How are you doing? So as people join, by the way, if you want to tell me you're here, that'd be awesome. I know I've got some people on Facebook, some people on LinkedIn. So just let me know if you're here. Anyway, so we've gone over this. So number one, be clear. Number two, connect with the people and empathize with them. Number three is create. And that's really where I'm at now. What if you can create certain things like that will keep your business alive for this period of time? And we've talked about that in the last couple of videos a few times. What kinds of things can you create to bring your business online, or to at least sustain it at a different, maybe not at the same level, but at like a level. So right now, for example, my business, I have a Zoetica Media. We are a agency. So we help people with their social media. We have businesses that we run their entire social media presence, and we also work on actually putting influencers together with brands as well. So some of our businesses completely collapsed. I'll be really honest. So the travel and tourism side of our business is, yeah, everybody's pulling back, everybody's putting things on hold. Obviously, we're not going to be asking people to travel right now. This is not going to work. We also have healthcare. So that has, I would say, picked up substantially. So we're working very hard on the healthcare side right now. So we're really fortunate to be there. But one of the things way back in the day, whenever I was putting together the businesses, I wanted to make sure that I was balanced. So going forward, you may want to think about that too. Like, what can you do to balance your business? Some of it online, some of it offline, some of it in one certain area, some of it in another area. So that's kind of what we've done. We've done this sort of hybrid model, and now we're bringing it online even more with our online training and so on. So all of this stuff is interesting. So that kind of goes with that create. How can you create your business and use this time that you have right now to rethink things? Usually we're so busy, we don't have time to do it. We just have to like deliver and so on. So how can we do that so that we can be ready for the next time, or even for this time? So I know a lot of people are sitting back and waiting and like, I'm not, going to see what happens, but I'm just jumping in. I'm going to push forward right now, because I do think that there's ways that you can innovate right now that you couldn't have innovated maybe even, a month ago. I've been seeing that this time has like accelerated digital transformation for a lot of companies. And so, a lot of people are working from home now, and they're doing all their meetings from home. I mean, my husband's downstairs doing his meetings right now. So, and these are in traditional companies that have been kind of reluctant to do work at home kind of scenarios. So I would just say that this is a time when things are changing greatly. And I don't think that it's all going to change back. Obviously, we're going to come back and have, brick and mortar and so on. But this is the time to rethink your business and what it does. And if you haven't started a business, maybe it's the time for you to start one. Something that meets a need that people have right now. People are at home with their kids. How are they feeling? What are they doing? What do they need? This is the time to meet those needs and meet your customer where they are, instead of like trying to force them into your model. So that's number 3. So we've gotten, be clear about your communication, connect with people whenever you're talking about the bad news or the good news or whatever, and being very clear about what that is, and then creating something amazing. Then I have my 4th part of the model, which is calibrate, which is always about measuring like the results. Is it working? So, you're going to want to be lean and mean and what they call agile right now. And I would say that, the best way to do that is to check in and say, is this working? But give it some time. Okay. So let's be realistic. Things may not work like in the first minute. You may have to tweak little things in your model to make sure that they're working for you and your business. And so you have to change quickly. And guess what? We're in a situation right now where we are forced to change quickly. And as humans, I mean, honestly, we don't like to change. We like to get kind of into a groove and like work through our groove, but not necessarily change as quickly as we're being asked to change right now. So that is where we're at right now. Let's see what time it is. I'm sorry, I'm checking the time. So that is where we're at right now. And this model, honestly, as far as crisis communication, is exactly the model that we do. The only other things I would say from my public relations background is be truthful about anything that you have going on, and also show compassion and sympathy, and that goes along with that connect part. So I really like this model to put this together. I was thinking about this yesterday and going, wow, this model fits everything. And I'll tell you why it does. Back in the day, whenever I was starting in public relations, which was, oh my goodness, I don't even want to tell you, years ago, I got my accreditation in public relations. And one of the things we looked at was what I call the goalpost model, which is setting goals, finding defining who your people are, setting objectives, putting together your strategies and tactics based on those objectives and those people. So I actually built this model for Smart Social Secrets off of um, the APR model. So it does fit with all kinds of communications, whether it be online communications, offline communications, anything you do. I worked for the manufactured housing industry for many, many years for the Institute in Washington, D.C. I was the director of communications, and I actually traveled around the country and did crisis communications trainings for people that owned manufactured home communities and sold manufactured homes or trailers or mobile homes, however you might want to say. And so we spent a lot of time thinking about that and how important it was for them to be clear and honest and have speed in their communication. Like, don't wait. You cannot put your head in the sand during this time, guys. I mean, it's not going to go away. It's like credit card debt. You have to pay it. You can't just pretend it's not there. So that's what this is too. It's just this moment where we're called to step up to the plate and be clear and honest. And as far as it is concerned with people's health care, I can come back to that for a minute. Like I said, you don't have to talk about the specific person that has something unless they speak up for themselves. So actually, that just happened here where I live. There's a person that's in the hospital nearby, and she really wanted to step out and tell people that they should take this seriously. So she did an interview from the hospital about her situation. But as if she'd been my employee, for example, I would never go online and say, this employee has it. That I would not do. So definitely, if you have somebody that has it, you don't have to tell the media, obviously, but you definitely have to tell the people that they were in contact with. So that's the only people that you probably need to tell who it was. It's the people that maybe sat with them or nearby, or that they're connected and spend time together. So that's all. So this has been a little bit rough on those waters too. The healthcare part, I think, has put a little wrench in the communication part. So anyway, that's all. So does anybody have any questions about that? Let me know. You can leave a comment here, and I will actually answer these throughout the day. If you have a sticky situation, you can DM me or private message me wherever you're at, and let me know what that is, and I can maybe give you some advice around that. I also have, done some other massive kinds of things online. So I've been through a lot of crises. I will just tell you that, for corporate kind of situations. So I have some experience. I hate to say that, but there it is. I have some experience around that. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will absolutely answer them. So thank you very much, and have an awesome day. Go out there, be clear. Take this as an exciting opportunity while you're stuck in your house and not ill. Once you get sick, obviously this isn't going to work. So stay home, um, be creative, look for ways that you can help others during this time. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Okay. Bye.